Hey, all you beautiful peeps out there. Thank you for joining me for another debunk. Today I'm going back to Hammy Boy. Just can't get enough of our old Hammy Boy. He is a hoot. Anyway, if you're new, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back, and let's go. But before we start, please subscribe to my channel. If you already know you're going to like this, go ahead and like it, or you can dislike it if you want. Go ahead and leave comments. I love all of your comments and I do read them. And I do not delete comments. If your comments get deleted, it was YouTube that did it. So grab your snacks and probably you need your facepalm gear because we are dealing with Hammy Boy after all. And he definitely is one of those facepalm people. And get comfortable and let's go. Take it away. And while you're thinking about it, if you're new, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And if you've already subscribed to me, make sure you're still subscribed because for some reason, YouTube loves to unsubscribe people. Also, if you're new here, I'd like to thank you very much for giving me a chance. And for my fans and subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. You are the lifeblood of this channel. And now, with that, let's get on with the video.
Was it every kind of land animal? Were dinosaurs land animals? Did dinosaurs go on the ark? Of course they did. Of course, people say, how could they fit? Well,
are you fucking kidding me?
Remember, most dinosaurs are small. Some were the size of chickens. Some were smaller than that. Dinosaurs laid eggs, and the biggest egg we found is about the size of a football. We have real fossil dinosaur eggs at the Creation Museum. Even a stegosaur, when he has to have an egg, wasn't that big. There was one dinosaur was a Mosasaurus, the size of a mouse, when he has to have an egg.
You still have a problem, Kenny Boy. The juvenile spinosaurs range from 3.3 to 5.2 meters. That's what they've found so far. So let's use 4.5 meters, which is roughly 14.6 feet. But to be even kinder, let's go with 3.3 meters, which is the smallest one they found thus far. That would be 10 feet 9 inches, approximately. Okay, so that would mean at least 20 feet on the ark.
Now, Noah didn't take eggs on board. God sent kinds of land animals, and he didn't necessarily have to take babies. I think God would have sent young adults to go on board. But the point is, very few of your dinosaur kinds were massive animals.
Oh, I see. So you're just going to ignore the fact that we found fossils of Spinosaurus, Tyrannosaurus, and other huge, huge dinosaurs. Yeah, that sounds like a creationist. If I ignore all the evidence that doesn't fit my narrative, then the evidence supports my narrative. That's creationist thinking, and it doesn't bode very well for you. You have to go where the evidence leads. If young earth creationism was true, the evidence would support young earth creationism and we wouldn't even be having this discussion. However, the evidence points nowhere in that direction, and you are a deceptive ideologue that has to blind your sheeple. You know, Hammy Boy, if the evidence and the truth supported your claims, you wouldn't have to lie now, would you? But you do have to lie. And yes, I am accusing you of lying, you fool, because you are lying. I could forgive you if you were just being an ignorant little monkey, but you're not. You are intentionally lying. You know the truth, and you intentionally lie.
But I suspect for the really big sauropods, God probably sent young adults. It would make sense to have healthy teenagers ready for the new world. And then there boys and girls say, Mr. Ham, but weren't there hundreds of dinosaurs? I've seen over 600 names of dinosaurs, and you have all the other animals. How could Noah fit them on board? Great question.
Damn right!
When you come to the ark, you'll find we have exhibits that explain it all. Because you know what the Bible says? God sent two of every kind. Not species. What word did I say? Kind.
There's so much wrong with this fucking story. Not the first of which is define kind. You never have. Now, Answers in Genesis has tried to by saying it might be on the order level or thereabouts. But if you want to piss on science, you cannot use science to define your fucking terms. You have to figure out something else. And you can't. So, fuck it. And even if we were to accept your piss poor definition of the word quote unquote kind, you'd still have a problem because even among creationists, there are dissenting opinions. But onto a more important point, and that is yes, a lot of dinosaurs were roughly the size of chickens. But you believe there was only one age of dinosaurs, and there are huge dinosaur fossils. So even if you could fit two Spinosaurs on the ark, that's a funny picture. They would take up the entire ark. You really don't think this through, do you?
System, kingdom, farm, class, order, genus, family, or family, genus, species, we believe it equates more to the family level of classification. So if you look at dogs, there's all these different species of dogs. See them? But we believe there's only one kind of dog, and you know what it's called? Dog. Do you know how many dogs Noah needed on the ark? Only two, because God put all this genetic information in dogs so you could get all these different species, but dogs always remain what? Dogs.
Yes, Ken. Thank you for making my point. So many species of dogs, and they had to come from two of whatever the fuck dog kind was 4,400 years ago. Do you not see how that makes your position untenable? I would find it hilarious if I didn't also find it sad that you don't see that your own position requires hyperevolution on steroids far more than any secularist would endorse. That really is a major problem in your quote unquote worldview. But for some reason, your audience doesn't get that. Or maybe they just don't care, or they're blinded by you. So let's talk about your only two of dog kind being on the ark 4,400 years ago to give us all the species of dogs that we have today. You say that the genetic information was all stored up in those two dogs. How exactly would that work, Hemi Boy? If you're going to propose such an asinine solution to the problem, or really propose a solution to a problem, you need a mechanism whereby you can do that. So, are you saying that these two representatives of dog kind had way more genes than quote unquote dog kind does now? Because you also assert that mutations only take away, as you and all young earthers are known to do. You are known for saying that mutations do not add, they only take away. So I can only fathom that you mean dog kind had way more genes. Do you ever listen to yourself? I mean, really, truly listen to yourself. You are babbling because you say something and two sentences later you say something else, which negates what you just said. And, you know, I've caught a lot of it. Some of it I just let go because that wasn't the point of it. But, I mean, come on. At least have something solid.
You look at the number of families of dinosaurs. Clearly, the word dinosaur is sort of this term for a whole group of different types of land animals. And there's probably, we think, could be 80 kinds, maybe as few as 50. It's hard to tell because you can't tell a lot of things about how they breed from the fossil record. But there's those that are like the Triceratops kind, those that are like the sauropod kind. So we think there's about 80 families.
I hope nobody expects an intellectual response to that clip, because fuck me if I have one. So I'm just going to make fun of Kenny Ham. So you're saying your God is so inept that according to your own narrative, he went through the trouble of getting 50 to 80 kinds, whatever the fuck that is, of dinosaurs on the ark, and in 4,400 years they are gone. So I guess what? They died on the ark? Or they died shortly after they landed? Okay, well, if God knew that was going to happen, why did he fuck up and tell Noah to take those dinosaurs on the ark? So let me see if I've got this straight. According to your own book, God fucked up with Adam and Eve and blamed them, and then decided he was going to send a flood, which did dick all to solve the problem, as he himself said, and then he fucked up again. Well, hey, I can't say that he's all good or all loving or all powerful, but he does have the market cornered in the fuck up department. He definitely is the god of fuck ups.
You know the sad thing? Here's the sad thing. A lot of children's books and a lot of children's nurseries and children's areas in churches have Noah's Ark looking like an overloaded bathtub with giraffes sticking out the chimney about to sink at any moment. Did Noah's Ark look like that? No. In fact, we have an exhibit at the Ark called Fairy Tale Arks. Here are pictures of children's books, and we bought a ton of them, And look, they usually show Noah's Ark as a fairy tale ark, as an overloaded bathtub about to sink at any moment. Look at it. Look at all these. Noah's Ark didn't look like those. That's why we have the fairy tale ark exhibit right there at the Ark. And we remind mums and dads, you see, the world doesn't want you to believe in Noah's Ark.
I'm guessing by the world, you mean people who don't agree with you. I got news for you, Kenny boy. There are a lot of Christians, and they outnumber you, who do not think that Noah's Ark is literally true. Wow, who would have thunk that maybe we don't want our children's heads filled with fairy tales, because that's exactly what the Noah's Ark story is. If you want to be a little more charitable, it's theology, but still. How can a grown man not know the difference between a story that's meant to teach a lesson and a story that is literally true? But then again, I should not be very surprised because you people are idiots.
Stories of the Bible. Noah and the Flood. This is Noah.
Hey!
Noah was a good man who tried to do the right thing.
Yeah!
But in the time when Noah lived, he was the only man on earth who was doing the right thing. All the other people on earth were doing evil things and hurting each other.
So I uploaded a narration of the Noah story so you could have the Noah story told roughly how it is in the Bible, and then I could add my colorful commentary because, let's face it, you come for the colorful commentary. I highly doubt that Noah was the only righteous person on the face of the earth. However, knowing the Christian God's definition of goodness, he might have been.
This made God very sad. So God said that he was going to send a flood to the earth that would destroy every living thing on earth because he was sorry he ever made them. But God decided to save Noah and his family. God told Noah to build a boat and fill it with 2 of every kind of animal and bird.
Okay, so let me see if I've got this straight. God fucked up with Adam and Eve, and he doesn't bother communicating to anybody what he wants. They just have to, read his mind? And then he gets mad at people for his own fuck up, and then he gets mad again because he can't be bothered to communicate what he wants to the world, so he decides he's going to flood the world, which didn't happen. Ken, do you know what we call that in psychology and counseling? We call that a classic abuser relationship. Get the fuck out of that relationship. It's not healthy.
And then Noah and his whole family boarded the boat and waited for the flood to come. The rain fell hard for 40 days and 40 nights.
Wow!
Water covered the whole earth, and the boat floated safely on the surface.
So, obviously this never happened, but for sake of argument, let's go with Ken Ham and say, yes, it did happen. What kind of a sick son of a bitch floods the entire world except for 8 people and some animals? And the Bible says that after the flood, this righteous man whom God decided to save ends up being a drunk, which, if you want to be a drunk, go ahead and be a drunk. But I can understand why Noah would be a drunk, because he needed to at least try to make all the screams of his neighbors go away. Now, think about it. The whole world has been flooded, and the one man that has been saved is so haunted for the rest of his life that he has to get drunk just to get through the day. What kind of a loving God would do that? And yeah, I know he wasn't the only one who was spared.
Water covered even the highest mountains on earth, but Noah and his family were saved. God remembered Noah and all the animals on the boat. God sent a wind to blow across the earth, and the flood began to go away. A few months later, the other mountains could be seen. 40 days later, Noah opened a window and released the raven. The bird flew back and forth until the flood had dried up. Also sent a dove out to see if it could find dry ground, but the dove couldn't find a place to land because there was still water on the ground. So the dove returned to the boat. This time, it came back with an olive leaf.
Oh, bingo!
So Noah knew that the floodwaters were almost gone. A week later, he sent the dove out again, and it didn't come back. So many months after the flood began, Noah opened the covering of the boat and saw that the ground was drying. He waited 2 more months, and at last, the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Leave the boat, all of you. Release the animals so they can be fruitful and multiply throughout the earth."
Okay!
What the hell is this?
Oh, you didn't really give any specific guidelines about mating.
Did you name it?
What?
Did you name it?
Yeah, he's...
So Noah, his family, and all the animals finally left the boat.
See ya!
Noah built an altar to the Lord to make a sacrifice to God. God was pleased with Noah's offering and said to himself that he would never again destroy every living thing on earth.
Luckily for us, this event never happened, nor could it happen. However, for the sake of argument, let's give everything to Hammy Boy, and let's say this really did happen. What kind of a fucked up God would do this to his creation? I mean, think about it. First, with the Adam and Eve story, you have people who don't know that they're not supposed to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil unless they eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So it's a catch-22, right? So God's already fucked up monster right there. So most biblical literalists will say the flood happened about 1600 years after the creation. So a mere 1600 years after God kicked Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden for doing what God knew they were going to do in the first place. And instead of using his words like a big boy, he decides he's going to be the big bully on the block and drown just about everything. And that's not even the best of it, because they didn't follow his rules, which he didn't even bother to give them. Now, let me ask you something. Is that the kind of fucked up God that you really want to worship? Because I'm here to tell you something. The kind of God you worship says a lot about you.
Congratulations, it's a celebration.
Well, friends, I don't want to induce a concussion or a brain aneurysm due to face palms, so I think that's enough stupid for today. You know, if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. For some reason, I had to get another Twitter account, so if you're already following me, please make sure that you are following me on my new account, link in the description, instead of my old account. So, yeah, we're getting invaded by the stupid over here in America. Don't know about anywhere else in the world, but definitely here in America. You know, Australia, if you want Ken Ham back, I'll gladly hand him over to you. You know, I can't deport him. I can't do anything. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, maybe together we can get him to go back to Australia. Then you guys can deal with him. Don't forget to hit the like button. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. If you are subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed because for some reason YouTube loves to unsubscribe people. And I will talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. I recently set up a Patreon account. You can follow me over there. I will start releasing patron-only content as soon as I get probably about 10 people. So, yeah, follow me over there only if you are in a financially stable position. If you like what I do, please consider becoming a member of this channel. You can become a member for as low as 99 cents a month. You get custom emojis and you get these debunks early. Well, friends, until next time, I bid you adieu, and may you always have stupid to entertain you. Goodbye.